TV.
Welcome to another edition of Business Conversation Agribusiness with Odipoji, Nick, and Kanyarati. We have been doing a three-part series in relation to the Tesco Kakuzi story. Wherever there's a crisis, there's always an opportunity. So, in relation to, let's look at it from the global perspective. When it comes to the share prices of Kakuzi, which is in the NSE right now. Kanyarati, what do you feel are the effects when it comes to the share price of Kakuzi in relation to this issue?
You know, every time you have a shift in an economy or shift in a specific sector in the economy, those who are in that sector always tend to have a dip. Specifically looking at Kakuzi in terms of assuming the stock exchange. Their share, I'm not currently aware of the share pricing, but I know it dipped with the current share. You see, meaning that those who have invested are seeing that in the short term, we will lose money and not make profits as expected. Shareholders will not benefit from the money which they are hoping in the profits. So for them, it's when they look, they see maybe in the next 1 or 2 years, this will be very shaky. So they will probably rather invest their money with other sectors. Yes. So Kakuzi is one of the big players in the industry. They are major shareholders when it comes, especially to the export of avocado. They are the biggest supplier of avocados to the European market. They play a big role in our economy. No one else does that. There are very few big companies of that scale in the agricultural sector. Most of the others are horticultural in terms of flowers. But when it comes to fruit and export, Kakuzi is the king. So certainly, you expect their share price to come down. It'll probably even go lower unless they resolve the issue in the short term. And that's our prayer, especially because we know how far these effects go. And it's not about the investors, the paper investors who are making the money, because they're waiting for someone else to do the dirty job. We're looking at the small-scale farmers who will not benefit from it, who will lose money because at this time, Kakuzi is not buying or exporting their products. And we are truly, my prayer is that they'll have resolved by the time the market opens again for the export of avocado next year in March. So that's where I feel this thing cannot be taken for granted. We cannot assume it. It must be resolved. I pray also that the government, I've not heard very much in terms of the government talking about it. Yes. I pray that they're taking it seriously because this thing is big. This thing is big. Kakuzi, I think, exports at around 30 or 40% of all. Am I correct in saying that? About 30, 20%. That's a big chunk of what is being exported. So I hope that the government should take this seriously. You know, we often, when I go down, I will start going emotional about farmers because we have seen very little support in that sector. I'm serious. There's very little. Because let me tell you, ukiingia kwa ground, and that's what we like to say, because we understand what is going down in the ground. There's very little support, structure, systems that goes to farmers. Even as they suffer. We used to have, I remember in the 80s, 70s and 80s, farmers were supported by everything. AFC came in. There was the livestock. That's why we are the biggest supplier of milk in Africa. You know, it's not by coincidence. There was a big shift to grow our dairy sector. There were the veterinary department used to come around and treat animals.
It's called extension services.
The extension services were amazing. And more so even the seed which you need for sperm, for cow quality cows. All that was there. Extension services with the farmers, you had agricultural officers in the village who understood and encouraged guys. There's not man now today. Beyond that, at least even things like coffee and tea used to make some money. Now it's not even there. So I pray that this thing is resolved because farmers are on their own. They are on their own.
Left hanging.
They've been left hanging.
Good. Nick, if you had Kakuzi shares, would you sell or would you hold, and why?
I'll hold.
You'll hold?
Yeah.
Why?
This is the thing, there's what is called delayed gratification. It's selling Kakuzi shares now is an emotional decision rather than an economical one. Okay, because it will dip, you will get beaten, but next year this thing will come up. Okay, the value will go down now. Probably what I'll do now is buy from those guys who are selling. Okay, increase my shareholding in Kakuzi. Then when this thing is resolved and these guys want to come back, that is the time we sell.
Oh, interesting, because
remember we said last time, it's not so gloomy.
Yes.
I mean,
Always that silver.
there's always a silver lining.
Yes.
You see, this is the thing. It's also marketing for Kakuzi. Nobody has looked at it that way. Just because one company has decided to step aside does not mean others will step aside, because these are allegations that are not yet proved. Okay, so if a company is of repute, they'll say, until the day this is proved, we will continue working with you. Okay, and others will come in and say, oh, we never knew there's a company of such magnitude in Kenya
doing this.
Yes. And we are interested. Such that by the time Tesco is coming back, Kakuzi will probably have a higher negotiating power. You see? So it's not so gloomy. I choose to look at this thing from a very positive angle.
Yes.
Give me your shares. In fact, I think probably mnaweza nichangia. I can go buy those shares.
Yes, because when you look at it, it actually as of today, which is November 12th, yesterday it actually closed on a positive.
Yeah.
It was 3 points up. Yeah.
There are people who are looking long
Which is
term.
very good. Yes.
Those are the long term.
Those are the links
Long-term
of this
players.
world. Yeah.
Consider the fact that it has a high of almost $4.
Yeah.
And the 3.65 that it closed on by yesterday is not bad. You know, so it keeps going up as you have said. So let's look at it also from this perspective, because one of the things that I was taught is that it is unwise to make permanent decisions based on an emotional high.
Yeah.
Temporary situation, because this is more or less temporary. The other day I was speaking at a youth forum. There's this mentorship program that FAO have started, which is very good for mentoring youth. And
So anyone who doesn't know FAO?
Food
An agricultural
organization. Yes.
And it's an international.
Yes.
It's not Rocco.
It's a UN.
It's not Rocco. See Rocco.
No.
It's not based in Busia.
So you are speaking internationally.
Yes, we were actually doing a mentorship program for at least the next 5 to 6 months with some youth. It's a very good program, which I believe is something that needs to be done in just about every other county, where Kenya has no problem in producing. Okay, the agricultural bit of it, there's no issue there. But the challenge comes in on the business side of it. That's where the challenge comes in. So that's what we're trying to just cultivate when it comes to youth getting into farming. We just don't want them to stop at agriculture, because many usually stop at agriculture. So there was a story one lady was giving us. She does spices, and she told us how one day she had planted this particular spice, and then a friend came and told her, this thing doesn't have market. It doesn't have market at all. The next day, she cut them. The next week, someone was actually looking for that particular spice. A personal example, we started doing rosemary sometime back in 2018. Then I remember around 2019 there, I was just talking to a friend of mine about, he was interested in agribusiness. So I was telling him what we are planting. And his countenance just fell. So I asked him, what's the problem? He told me, believe it or not, I am just from cutting down the rosemary trees that were round our farm. They were all over our farm. We were clearing bushes, and part of the bushes that we cleared
was rosemary.
And they were many. It was an entire fence, you know. So he was in deep regret, because someone had misguided, someone had misinformed this particular individual. And now when it comes to what Nick was touching on, there's international level where yes, people are, we have some emotional people who will tend to fear and sell.
Yeah.
They want to sell. And people want to buy. At the local level, we have some people who, chances are right now, they are thinking or they already have cut down the avocado trees.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I really hope not.
Yes, because there are some people who, they move according to emotions.
And not only that, there's someone who's thinking, these are the only people I've been supplying to. Where am I going to go?
Let them contact us.
No, that's a good way to think, but yeah.
Yes. So the point is when it comes to agribusiness, when it comes to agriculture, there's a lot of emotion involved. By the time you're growing that plant, it becomes like your baby. It becomes part of you.
You create a relationship.
You create a relationship with the plant. You know, it actually happens.
Yeah, just
Now,
like people name their cows.
Just the way people name their cows, you know. So there's a lot of emotion attached when it comes to agriculture. But one thing I realized, agribusiness doesn't have emotion.
Nope.
That's why it's nothing personal.
It's business.
just business, you know. So right now, if there's someone thinking of cutting down their avocado trees based on what Tesco and
temporary
Kakuzi,
situation.
which is a temporary situation, we would vehemently discourage them not to, because chances of this thing going up tend to be.
It's higher than
higher than
the probability of them. The probability of Kakuzi coming back into the market is higher than them failing.
Yes. So we have a situation where at least we can see the share prices will play around. They will either fall, and if they fall, you know, we have bulls and bears.
I have a question.
Yes.
Take me to where Kakuzi is or Kirinyaga. Meet farmer X. Ask that farmer how much are Kakuzi shares.
There you go. That's the
So,
other.
bottom line is the people who are majorly involved in this thing do not care about the shares.
Yes.
It's business.
It's business. Okay? So it's you who intends to play on the big market, who's looking at the shares. Okay? That person in Kirinyaga does not even know that Kakuzi is actually listed. Yeah.
And I'll tell you something, which is what you need to know about the stock exchange. Our stock exchange is predominantly moved by foreigners. They're the ones who invest here because the returns here are higher than anywhere in Europe or anywhere else in the US. So when they do take this big risk of by investing here, our shares tend to keep moving up. So when they are small scale, they're ready to pull out quickly and wait quickly. Where next, they put their money. They are not loyal to the local market. So when it moves, it may not necessarily be locals.
So at the end of the day, what if I'm to pick from what Jackson is saying, it means the shares, the dividends Kakuzi pay, they don't pay local.
Majority of them actually go out.
They actually go out. Then at the end of the day, their shares have no effect on the Kirinyaga farmer.
No.
What we need to look at now is, because this is technically one of the last days you're talking about the Kakuzi thing, is what next for this farmer? What next for Kakuzi? What next for a potential investor?
So one is one of the things that we can actually say in terms of just, first of all, the farmer who has been affected by the Tesco Kakuzi fiasco. One, don't be emotional about making a decision based on this temporary situation. That's one, which is very important. And then generally, it's also something that we would like to tell anyone who's getting into farming. Split the agricultural emotional side from the agribusiness side that does not need emotion. If you put emotion in the agribusiness side, chances of you making the wrong choices are very, very high. You know, so that one is very important. Then secondly, when it comes to shares, I've always been wondering how or why don't farmers, probably you can tell us because you've interacted more with avocado farmers than the both of us combined, why don't avocado farmers come together in like a cooperative society and then buy shares in a company like Kakuzi so that they also have vested interest in the big table? Because these farmers actually play a very fundamental role when it comes to the performance of Kakuzi. When it's all said and done, it is not the wheels, but it is the fuel that makes the wheels turn. So the farmers, in my opinion, seem to be the fuel, despite the car looking the way it can be able to look like. You know, it could be the best EQS, you know,
Whatever that means.
It's the new Mercedes electric S-Class.
You're saying something. Okay. Go on.
Well, she told us about a tractor. I mean, this is a family show.
Anyway, so why aren't farmers keen on coming together as a cooperative, then approaching a company like Gold Avenue, which does a lot of trading, and tell them we are coming together as a cooperative society and we want to buy shares in Kakuzi? Why don't they do that? I've never heard of anything like that.
I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
I'll look at it from two angles. One, lack of knowledge. They actually don't know that they can do this and succeed. Okay? Two, what Jackson and I were arguing about last time, the broker. The broker will shield, yes. Let me call them brokers today.
Double standards. Today they are brokers.
On this, they're brokers. Do you know why?
When you say broker, we all understand. Okay. Any other term is just...
It's a fancy name. It's a fancy name. You see?
Bougie name.
So this is the thing. The brokers will shield them from doing this. Because the moment these guys get empowered, what will the broker eat? You see? If they come in a group to company X and say, we are Kirinyaga Avocado Farmers Association, we want to supply you with fruit. The question is, how many tons can you supply? The association says we can be able to supply 60 to 100 tons. That is a group I can listen to. Okay? Mm-hmm. But when you come alone, you can only supply 50 kgs.
Yes.
I won't listen to you. So there's more in numbers, but these brokers have been able to shield these guys. I know some few exporters who don't even know the name of their farmers.
A majority, why would they know?
They only
Give me a good reason why I need to know the farmer. I don't even deal with it.
Yeah, because you used to
And
a broker.
after all, when that truck comes, how many people's avocados are in that truck?
Probably 10. You see? So
and that's today. Tomorrow
another 10.
Uh-huh.
So
there
at the
can
end
be
of
no
the day,
relationship at all.
So it's exporters have found it easier to deal with brokers and not the farmers directly, because we have the land issue in Kenya. Majority of these farmers do not have large chunks of land, like they can grow probably 10 to 15 to 20, 30 tons. You see, so they have to come together. But this broker realizes if these guys come together, I'm out of business. Yes. So he'd rather even tell them the prices down in Nairobi are very bad. So whatever I'm giving you is a favor.
Yeah,
so it's called economic manipulation.
Oh, okay.
So this guy will manipulate these people for his benefit. You see? So at the end of the day, these farmers will never form a cooperative, or you even make them go against each other. You tell them, you see, that guy's farm is bad, so if you combine your product with these guys, your cooperative will be rejected. Yeah, you see, he doesn't even spray, then you want to join him. Manipulate them. But if these farmers came together, they will help this guy do good agricultural practice. Yes. And he will succeed.
Yes.
Yeah. So thing is, so long as brokers are there, they will not have it. And so long as these export companies do not encourage trading in groups, it will still not happen.
So the power of consolidation is being hampered by, let's say, greed.
It's technically greed.
Yeah, because that one just looks like greed.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't look like.
It is greed.
Yep.
That's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Now, Kanyarati,
yes,
there is an opportunity I have seen, which I would like you to touch on, which you will touch on just in the subsequent episode, in relation to the opportunity that has been created by the glut that is currently in the market, based on the fact that Tesco is no longer taking avocado from Kakuzi, and yet the farmers who are supplying Kakuzi, they have not stopped the supply. The tree doesn't know whether there is a fiasco. Yeah, they doesn't know whether there's a fiasco or Tesco. The tree will produce. So chances are that we are having a situation until the next season. We have a number of farmers who produce heavily, let's say, like you've confirmed that there's about 20% of the avocado production in the country is being taken by Tesco,
Kakuzi.
By Kakuzi, sorry. So you can imagine 20%. That's a big number of the millions of avocados that are produced. So there's a 20%.
Partly because
Yes.
they have the largest chunk of land
Yes.
under production.
So
see.
you can imagine the trees are still producing. So that means we have a lot of avocado. You are getting into processing of avocado at some point, and it is still something that you're getting into. I'd like to find out the opportunity that has just been created by this tiff between these two, and the production is there.
Well, I'm going to look at it this way. The farmer has always suffered with this kind of scenario, and it's based mainly on supply and demand. Fruits will always fruit in their season. It doesn't matter, like you've made clearly, the season will come, the fruits will be ready to give you guys fruit, they'll put them out, you will pick or not pick. The choice and the situation we are under now is asking ourselves, what other alternatives can we talk about? Because bottom line is, I think one of the biggest, and I think we have to start there. Farmers, we must find a way, even through this channel here, to tell farmers that they must come together as cooperatives in the interest of their own selves. If you look at almost other sectors, start with coffee and tea. Coffee was the first one to be completely punched out of business. Why? Greed. Farmers coming together to sell their product to an organization through KPCU and all other things. But the guys we call directors, who they elect to be their representatives, all they do is go to eat. And they eat the small farmers. I'll give you an example. I was with my brother on Saturday. He's a farmer based in Kirinyaga. He has coffee. He told me he was paid 13,000 shillings from 5 acres of coffee. 13,000.
1-3.
This is a conversation on Saturday. No, forget.
This is not dollars.
No. Kenyan shilling. 13,000. He asked me a good reason. Give me one good reason why I should keep coffee.
Yes.
There's none. Because it's about you see now, he's not a farmer. He wants the agri side of the agribusiness side of it to work. He is completely devastated. There's no reason. He has told me, in fact, what he's doing already, he has already planted a simple product, bananas. He says, I make more money from bananas. They don't take a lot of husbandry. You don't even spray them. All you do is prune them and make sure the suckers are well, and they keep producing. You don't need to. It's not rocket science. Coffee has an element of rocket science, and you really, really break your back with coffee.
For 13,000?
13,000 shillings. Imagine 500. So he said, you know what? First, I'm moving. My point is this: where he sells to a cooperative, what has the cooperative done for them? So you see, first, they're coming from a point of that history. That most cooperatives do not help us. As is USAID, anyone who goes in there, and that's a culture I think, unfortunately, we have in this country. You give me even one place where the people who've been given authority, the same farmers, because they are the same farmers, given authority to lead the society on their behalf, being one of them. Assume we are in a small 3-people society. We elect Nick.
Odipo.
Nick, no. We are electing Nick. Nick will finish us. Nick will go in.
No, you know.
He'll be eating our money, and then he'll come and tell us, you guys, we didn't even grow enough. Our money is not enough. You guys need to pay me. That's how the system works. So first, very disillusioned. But there's no other way. They still need to come together, irrespective of the circumstances. So first, they must form society. 2, even when they come together, they should try and take an element of control of their own market. By forming that society and buying shareholding in the big export companies, it means they are players in that profit on the other side.
The decision making.
Exactly. And that process, they can even come, since they are big, they can come and say, no, we just need 2 shillings. The biggest challenge is you think you're a farmer and that you have knowledge of how to grow a product, that you can run an organization. You cannot. Unfortunately, you cannot. So they need people to come together, create systems, and employ a few, hopefully the right people, professionals, Okay, not Nick, but Nick, okay, Nick. Yes. So even Nick can come and will do the job. Honestly, he understands the business end to end. He'll create systems for them. Eventually, they will be packaging and delivering a packaged product to Kakuzi to export. Are you seeing how far they've got? They've increased their value. So now even Kakuzi is thinking, we don't need this machine here anymore. Or even if they do, these guys have resolved. You can even brand them your name. We need people to help us think. And that's why sometimes I have a fight and beef with the government. But we must. New markets means, are we looking at the US today, even before we started exporting as a potential? What are we doing as farmers? Are we sending representatives? Are we engaging with the embassy? Are we doing all those things combined? Should be able to create an element of a new market. Thirdly, the African countries that don't grow avocado, and they would need it. You go to the north, countries like Egypt, countries like those North Africa, Libya, well, there's war there, Algeria, Morocco, southern Spain, Turkey. In that hub, they don't have avocados, yet it's a product. You'll not believe it. The biggest exporters of agricultural avocados in the European Union is Finnish. Finland imports and resupplies to Algeria.
They are big brokers. When we shall be able to touch more on the opportunities that are there, but one of the things I've come to realize is that it's very clear that whenever there's a crisis in agriculture, there's an opportunity in agribusiness. And when we come back, we shall be able to just look at probably 2 or 3 practical applications that we can be able to benefit in terms of agribusiness based on the crisis that has been created in agriculture. We shall look at it from the angle of the avocado crisis that's there, because Kakuzi is no longer selling to Tesco, and the farmers who are there, what they can be able to do with their avocado, and then also a broader perspective, because there'll always be some kind of crisis at some given point when it comes to agricultural production. And whenever there's a crisis, there's always an opportunity. And whenever there's a crisis in agriculture, just know the opportunity in agribusiness has opened up. We will be back in the next episode, and we'll be finishing on this Tesco Kakuzi fiasco and the effect it has had on the smallholder farmer, on the economy, and also in terms of ethics. This is Business Conversation on Clean Money TV with Odipo G, Kanyarati, and Nick Abayo. Until next time, God bless.